So what we're going to do today, we're going to kind of outline where the challenges are in higher ed, and we're going to kind of try to clip through this pretty quick, and then transition into how AI can help you overcome some of those challenges. We're going to cover 3 different aspects of AI real quick, one more from just like a higher level. We're going to transition to Sam so he can share with you guys how he's using those things, or maybe just a bit of a discussion. We're going to try to get through this like within 30 minutes, maybe less, because then we really want to open it up to discussion, because I think this is stuff that everybody's probably got a lot of discussion points on. So this is not really a how-to, this is more of a how, kind of overall how approach. So damn differences for higher ed. So there are nearly 6,000 colleges and universities in the U.S. There's 3982 of degree granting post-secondary institutions. You guys all work for these people. But the problem is college enrollment is declining, and I think everybody in this room probably feels that, right? There's a lot of challenges in higher ed. So the challenge for you guys as university photographers is to bring those students into your school, to attract them the best you can. That's a lot more work than it used to be, right? Because you've got to produce more content. You've got to do it faster. It's got to be better. So, technology is moving forward. It's helping you. You can use the AI to do these things better. You need to attract students. You need to attract donors. It's just got to be top-notch work. So the first thing we're going to cover is AI-generated content. We were talking before the thing today about how some people are using ChatGPT for things. There's so many AI-generated content programs out there. And I know when that first started happening, people were worried about, this is going to take my job, right? If people can go in and put that into Midjourney or something like that, they don't need a photographer, right? But they do need photographers because they need authentic content. They don't need something that's, they're going to get past the 6-fingered hands at some point with AI, right? But they're still not your students, and it's your job to produce authentic content with your students. But how can you use this? Because it is a pretty cool technology, right? I have on this slide that 89% of CMOs say that content demand went up in the last 12 months, but only 27% are more likely to use AI for content creation. And that's good, because your bosses realize that's why they have you guys. They know that they need you guys to produce that authentic content. So using things like Midjourney, though, how many of y'all saw Lindsay Adler's thing last year? Yeah? So she is using, if you don't know who she is, she's an amazing fashion photographer. She goes into Midjourney and puts in an idea and gets, AI-generated content. But then she uses her skills, her mad skills, to go and recreate, but with her own little flair to it. So I know when I was at Samford, I always had the School of the Arts calendar every year that I had to do. And they would tell me, these are we need something for ballet, we need something for theater, we need this, this, and this. And then I just got to go do. And this Symposium was my powerhouse for that, right? Because I took all of those ideas to build those things. And I kept everything locked down in my Photoshelter account and wouldn't release it because I spent so much time and effort on it. I didn't want anyone using it for anything outside of that. But I would look through things. I would study things online. I would look at all y'all's stuff and get ideas and go back and craft these amazing images for that calendar project, because that was like the peak of my creativity that was asked of me on campus every year. Now, though, with that, things like Midjourney, you can go in, use that as well to type in ideas and just kind of build off of that. So you don't have to be, I guess the point is, you don't have to be afraid of that. Be more embracing of how can this help me, and building off of that.
I'm afraid of it.
You're afraid of it. All right, what do you think?
No, everything you described is entirely accurate. It's not my thing. I use Instagram. I like to actually see for other photographers' work. That's more of who I am. Like Steven is a good example. I've followed Steven for the last 2 or 3 years probably, and this is the first time we've met in person. But it's great to put a face. I like having a face with who I see photos of, so to speak. Like Nate, another good example. I followed y'all forever.
Yeah.
And it's just really fun. For me, it's a personal connection because I can't call AI and say, hey, how'd you do this?
Right, yeah.
But I can call Steven or I can call Nate and like, hey, how did y'all do this? Like that's my stitch with it. It's not so much about the AI. It's more about the personal connection I have with people.
Yeah, I think that's, how many of y'all are using anything like Midjourney or something like that just for any kind of ideas? Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I think it's interesting. So it'll be good to talk about y'all's experience with that, I think. We'll kind of like chop through our slides real quick and then kind of get back to it.
That's the more fun part.
Yeah. So editing is the second way, right? And every single one of y'all in this room is doing this. You're using AI for your editing. It's more so and more so and more so. 82% of creative professionals who use AI for content report it's streamlined their processes, allowing them to focus more on creativity and less on manual tasks. So things like adjustments to color, exposure, contrast, sharpness, generative fill, editing presets, cropping, batch processing. Y'all are all using these things. Now, though, we've got Content Authenticity Initiative that's come out for those content credentials to let people know how much post-editing has been done on that content. And that's good because over-processing, I think we all can sit in a room and watch a slideshow and go, oh, that's so over-processed. I will honestly say I've done that this week, looking at some of the presenter stuff going, I wonder what that would have looked like more on the original side and less on the processing side. But being able to track those things, and your bosses are going to start tracking that, and your people on, outside of your organization are going to start tracking that, which is interesting. And you guys need to track that to know, any content that you're using that you didn't produce, what's going on there. You had an interesting story.
I literally broke a sweat when you said these words. That's what happened. Without too much detail, I'm a freelance photographer for wire services, and third-party roundabout knowledge is that there have been a few wire photographers that have recently been fired for using AI denoise. And it's just a denoise, but those two letters on front of it tag that image, and that they were done.
So they use a noise ninja and get fired for it?
Technically, because it's AI.
Jeez.
And it's content manipulation to an extent.
But if they manually use the noise ninja, it's not considered?
Don't know. I don't know. I don't. In this example for me, when I shoot wire, it's camera to Photoshop to Meta to out. I very rarely do anything besides crop. Maybe a few adjustments, highlights. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? Maybe we just kind of stay on this for a little bit because I'm curious how many of y'all are doing a lot of processing? How many of y'all would be concerned about this? Yeah?
For the denoise feature, depending on what the shoot is.
Well, again, then that's wire services. My day-to-day job is with Agrilife, and I use those tools all the time because it's different. It's a different environment. It's marketing communications. There are different rules.
Yeah.
Well, I normally shoot at ISO, 3200, so I'm going to have some grain. I'm going to
Yeah.
get rid of it.
Yeah.
Do you work in caves?
I also see it, so I think
No, you're good.
I think things have changed in some of what they were looking at. I remember people in the late 90s and early 2000s that got dismissed for burning down things too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's the same concept, just different
So,
technology.
Where now I think that's sort of acceptable. Maybe they went still too overboard. It just depends on how far you want to take that.
Yeah.
And this really seems to speak to the need for what the Content Authority Initiative is really doing, because you need to be able to tell what that original looked like and what was done to it. Because you know what? To me, denoising is I don't even know why AI is needed in that. But
Well, it's still the same process. They just put two new letters on it and made it a little bit better.
I know exactly.
It's the selling point now. It's like, oh, it's AI. It's brand new. It's shiny.
Yeah, but it's that makes it scary. Whereas if you see that original and then you see the process version, you're like, it's the same photo, or potential. It should.
Yeah.
Be,
Yes.
but that ability to make a judgment on your own.
Yes.
Which the content, which that should help with, but it's a matter of getting that implemented, in our camera systems. I know, I'm not sure what Photoshelter is on this yet.
With the credentials?
Yeah.
We'll have that in the system. We're part of that Content Authenticity Initiative, and so we'll have the ability to read that in the system. Sean, what you got? You got your hand up.
So two things. One, this question and just giving an example, piggybacking what you're saying. There's a software company called Topaz Labs. I don't know if you've heard about it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Topaz.
You can res up really low resolution. So what I think about is, and I've seen this in older photojournalism workshops, where you're always finding the picture within the picture and cropping to get that sweet spot moment, right? And sometimes those moments are maybe with your telephoto maxed out at 200, but like that small on the screen, and you're just like, damn, and it's super pixelated and low resolution. Topaz Labs would completely clean that up to make it coherent, so you can still visually communicate.
My editorial world's like, no, you just send it pixelated. Like, it just goes.
Yeah. Right, so
Sorry, I didn't have a 400. I don't.
with all due respect, you're coming from the past.
Oh, yeah,
This
well.
is future conversation.
Oh.
This is also.
Oh.
But this is.
But I 100% guarantee you they're going to be having conversation about this, even at the AP level.
Oh, they have. They fired 4 people for it.
Right.
Well, not they, but
Well, but also
some
remember
services.
that we're education photographers.
Sure. It's
So
a different world.
Those whole like do not manipulate 100% at all whatsoever don't really apply, because my job, I mean, I don't know about everybody else's job,
Marketing.
is to market.
Yeah.
I'm here
Yeah.
to cheerlead.
I live in both of these
Yeah.
worlds 100%.
Yeah.
I do things in my marketing world that I will not do in my editorial
Still
world.
doesn't do great reading text. One of my graphic designers just used it to fix a client provided photo, and she was like, "Oh, I can't fix
Oh, was
the
text in the photo like?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it was a lab, and so they had.
I was just looking at it from the whole denoise
Yeah.
standpoint and the rezzing up with stuff. You know,
The resing up I get a little weird on. The denoise,
The resing up to me, like, if you're expanding it so much that it's inferring a sufficient amount of detail, that's an illustration at that point. That is a photo-based illustration. 'Cause
yeah, you're creating pixels.
Yeah.
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 Whereas the AI, like, the
What's
AI
that?
reproduction,
No, it's good though, because that's why I wanted us to have these conversations about this, because I think it's important. And I think to your point, right, we as higher, I say we because I still consider myself a higher ed photographer, but as higher ed photographers, there is the marketing side of it. And I know, I mean, you probably remember all those contentious conversations on Facebook about how, it's marketing, no, it has to be true, right? But we are marketers, but we're also editorial, right? Because there are those true moments. So you've got all of this that's factoring in on a daily basis into all those different areas. Sports is editorial. It is not, it's none of that. So having to balance all that, I think. So
the other thing, I'm sorry.
no, you're good.
We could keep going in this, but at some point, I was wondering if you could dive into the whole content credentials and like how to activate that on my end. Like, how do I do that?
We don't have it in Photoshelter right now. So this is this is all being built out right now, being able to activate
Is it
those.
a third-party thing that I could use within photo mechanics or something?
Eventually it'll be in your camera and it'll tag your metadata in your files automatically. And then whenever you import it, it's just all there. That's the end game. And that they're trying to get everybody on board to do that.
Yeah.
I think Photo Mechanics, they put up a blog post recently about they're putting it in.
Yeah.
I think you're gonna see everybody put this in.
It will be industry standard within 2-3 years, if not faster.
Yeah.
The problem is it's not there yet, and we really need it today.
Yeah.
Because to me, all of this, what we're talking about, and almost what we're talking around is the age-old question of trust.
Yeah.
I mean,
It is.
we've got to create a sense of trust that what we are communicating is true, is accurate.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like when digital first came along and everyone freaked out. This is the same transition from film to digital. It's just a new technology.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of the things we're talking about this hasn't been here. I mean, let's go back to Jurassic Park. I mean,
Yeah.
Jurassic Park has been around for 20-some years. My kids kind of think it looks a little silly, but that's all. The dinosaur wasn't walking around.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we've been able to do these things. We can just do it more easily.
Don't need Stephen having a side conversation.
Oh,
Apologies.
okay, sorry. Well, and I think, to your point too, what you were saying about being able to trust, and that's kind of going back to the original point we were talking about is AI going to take my job, right? When people stop being able to trust your work as being authentic, then what's to stop them from saying, you know what, actually, we could just use that AI-generated content thing because what you're doing is not authentic anyway. It's just processed, right? And I can pay this program half of what I'm paying your team to do that work. So it's kind of that balance falls on the university photographer, I think, to make sure like, hey, you still need me because I'm creating that authentic content and I'm not crossing that line.
AI is
So
not great at creating emotion, though.
what's that?
AI is not great at creating emotion. I mean, AI is
No.
ruin jobs for like prop designers.
Yeah.
set designer.
Right
something
now,
like that.
yeah, right
And there's
now, I
still
think, yeah.
use of AI in editing, which I won't tell a story here. If you want to hear it after the fact, it's a real world use where somebody put a smile on someone who could not smile.
Oh, yeah.
Our hope is using our students.
Yeah,
I have seen one of our campus partners that went and put a suit on somebody because they came in for a headshot.
Nope.
They didn't have it.
Nope.
And with that, here, I'm gonna, everybody like get ready to puke because I'm gonna come up with a scenario that can happen. You put your picture on your dam, graphic designer in student life pulls it off. It's not diverse enough. Here, let's circle and put a diversity in the background.
Nope.
Sitting there. I'm just saying, this is things
Yeah.
that we're gonna have to look at,
Yeah.
that we're being as true as possible.
Yeah.
But campus partners, so when you talk about doing this,
Well, no,
when
that's-
you set of ethics and rules, you need to send that out across your campus.
I said that should be by us. That and we have an ethics document of and like best practices and all that kind of stuff too. Because like, don't do this. You've been warned.
do y'all have, how many people have that?
What's that?
What is legal?
AI, as far as A&M Agrilife is concerned, we do not do it at all. It is not okay. Because then you get into the weird place of lawsuits of where those AI images are being pulled from. And if some random person's like, hey, that's a hand from my photo, well, then you get sued.
I got it.
And will that happen? I doubt it. But we get sued all the time
But the
for
legal
copyright
rules are
stuff.
changing to kind of-
What's that?
The legal rules are changing to try and protect reality.
I don't know if they are. That's a whole other conversation because that's the big scary thing for me with AI is that these AI generators, and if y'all don't know about Adobe 4.2, I think maybe some of y'all are familiar with that. If you're not, go look it up. It's the new Adobe fine print about how people are going to use their products and like what their takeaway is because essentially Adobe wants to have rights to use whatever you use in an Adobe product or whatever you create in an Adobe product.
Yeah,
And it's essentially they don't put it in there, but it's to train their AI for free
yeah,
off of all of our stuff.
yeah.
So
We should start charging them.
yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I just have a thought, maybe worth sharing, or maybe not, or I would love people's feedback. I think we have, like, I feel like we have to be careful as, like, university marketing people in the sense that, like, we want to represent authenticity and talent and use AI smartly as a tool, just like a calculator, right?
Right.
We don't have to do the math in our heads now, you know, because what we represent is something that is selling like authentic intelligence and authentic skill, and like, you know, someone who only wants to like learn through AI, you know, will learn through AI, and we can sell, you know, AI can sell them those images, but I feel like being true to what we represent also, which is like authenticity, I can't talk.
Authenticity,
You know.
yeah,
Thank
authentic,
you.
yep.
And, you know, I think that's important.
This is a good point for me. So when I went to, I've been in AI, I have all three products. Well, there's four, but I have three. I don't use the sports one. When I went to this, to my people to try to sell AI, those two big letters freaked everybody out. And
Yeah.
so then I had to come to Caroline and it's like, hey, I need a good case study of like, to make sure that they understand this is not creating things, because they were getting sued. We get sued all the time, literally. I can talk about that later too. But we sat down and we did all the things on here and they saw it was not creating, it was helping organize, find, all that kind of good stuff. That's where I was able to get past the red tape of those two scary letters. And again, you might not live in your world. Your people might be like, hey, cool, we trust you, whatever. A&M just gets sued for everything. So they're just, our OGC is very, very protective about new technologies, especially two big scary letters.
So you said that you guys have an AI policy, right?
It's going through OGC. It's in.
Okay, so how many of y'all have something like that already? Nate, do y'all have something like that?
We don't actually, as we have a group, Catherine's on it as well for UPAA, we're currently working on
Yeah,
a
yeah.
paper for that.
Okay,
Kind of like the DEI paper as well.
just something that, yeah,
But
just
that-
something
that
everybody
just
could
kinda-
use.
It'll just focus mainly on probably best practices.
Yeah,
Essentially, yeah, it's just putting rules down. It's nothing real crazy, but it's like, hey, this, and this is okay, and this is not.
Yeah,
And
where
it's
the
as simple
line
as
is.
that.
yeah,
Again, it comes back to trust.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
being sued and trust.
I
Frankly,
sued so much.
One of the reasons I
Oh.
joined that committee was because we don't have that document.
yeah,
And I wanted to make sure that that UPAA had that document, so I could walk into my boss's office and go, here's what the industry says. This is the industry standard. let's adopt this.
You
Yeah.
can do that with any university.
No pressure.
I do that a lot.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I reach out.
You're making it much harder on us.
I will literally get online and like Google things, and I've used some of Nate's stuff online for best practices for things and workflows, and that's just my example. But that's all that stuff's out there. Just go get it and adapt it to you.
But how many of us had it? Nobody had. So few of us have a document right now.
Yeah,
Like we need to start making those.
yeah.
So I think that's where,
Yeah.
we'll get it done.
We've been working with our communications team a little bit because we have used complete AI created images for some of our
Really?
quote unquote news releases. But
That is
we make
terrifying.
sure that they're captioned that way.
Yeah,
So people know this is not,
it's an illustration.
especially if it's
Yeah,
a story about AI, then a lot of times we're using AI to
that makes sense.
illustrate it.
Yeah.
Do you label it as AI? Do you label it as illustration? How's it tagged? Do you know?
I'm trying to remember kind of what we decided on, if we named it an AI illustration by whoever or
Yeah.
Whatever it was.
Made on, I don't remember. It's been a while since we've done that. But
Yeah.
I mean, me and Jaren, right, when Journey was, coming out, we've been playing around with it and trying to figure things out. And then with Adobe Firefly, when
Yeah.
that came out, we were playing around with that as well. So we're still working on what.
Well, it's a weird world of trying to adapt it to the technology, but also staying true to who we are, what we are, and not getting sued. I can't say that enough. Don't get sued. We've paid out so much money recently. Oh, it is a hot spot topic with me.
Well, and with that, I mean, in tagging stuff the right way, we are marketing, but there's
Yeah.
also truth in advertising.
Right, exactly.
And that goes along that line.
And
Yeah.
trust.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah,
Yeah.
agreed.
And if you aren't truthful, or if you have changed something, at least being upfront about it.
Yeah, at least
Like,
tag it
say,
as such.
Yeah, I took this Diet Coke can out of the photo. Okay,
Yeah,
And let's say you're using that for an advisement, not advisement, like an admissions piece. Like, there's typically not even a tagline to say, I took the photo, much less,
Well-
by the way, this is an AI and there might be might
It's,
have been
in
sued.
print pieces, I don't know that there's anything a whole lot that can be done, but at least on the on the online side, hopefully with the content authority initiative, like, it will just be a standard that it's there.
yeah,
Because I think, my personal belief is that in a few years, every 17-year-old is going to believe that every image is
manipulated somehow.
AI manipulated or
That's a good
generated,
point.
unless
Yeah.
it
I was gonna
says
say, yeah.
Really?
otherwise.
Like
Yeah.
illustration.
Yeah.
The initiative,
Why wouldn't it be?
the initiative that tags for creators will essentially be a CYA. That's what it'll be. I hate to say that, but the average everyday person that clicks download and pulls something,
They're not gonna.
they don't care.
yeah,
They just want the content.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I have a question, I think, maybe it's weird, but, I don't know, I just feel like the youths, like.
The youths.
Those kids.
So cool, and they just seem so much more accepting of so many things, and being real versus being obsessed with makeup or beauty or whatever, it's just
Yeah.
a chill generation, in my opinion, or my observation. And I almost feel like going beyond using AI as just a tool to like generative fill, clean up a, firelight or something, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna be able to smell it, and I think they're gonna cringe, basically, with if it's too, if you can't see anything real in it, if you can't see any flaw, if you can't see any human, you know what I mean? I feel like at some point they're gonna get really refined and, feeling what is.
I just hope they care.
I think so.
Because they're growing up in a world of digital manipulation where they think it's okay. And coming from old school photo J world, that's not okay. You can't. There's ethics.
Yeah.
There's principles. And that culture isn't the same anymore. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just different.
I think there's a part of using it for your creativity,
Well, that's
for
becoming
us,
more
our
acceptable,
cameras,
right?
How we can express ourselves.
It's like photographers and designers. What's okay and what's not.
Yeah.
We're two different worlds.
But to them, it could be an expression of
Yeah.
what they see, what they feel. You know what I mean?
Call it art.
But it
Don't call it.
isn't journalism.
Don't call it that.
Yeah. Matt, were you raising your hand?
Yeah, I'm trying to get this thought out real quick, but, sorry, brain stuck. When I've shopped for wire services, there's always been the, don't do what you couldn't do in the dark.
Yes.
Yes.
There's like a
Yeah.
level of.
Yes.
So so now, for the last 10 years we've done this, so now.
Well, that's changed too. Like that exact statement has changed.
So is it okay for a designer to be like, oh, I need this to be this shape, so let me add a little bit of extra black edge?
Well, it happens all the time.
Versus like changing a smile or a demographic of somebody. You know, like is there a line within AI that is going to
For me, if the people are involved, if you are changing the actual physical like makeup of a person, no, that's not okay.
Yeah.
Because you're changing the authenticity of the person.
So when do you need to tag it as like, hey, this is AI? Like if I just do remove a power line in the background, do I need to say, hey, this is AI?
Well, it's gonna do that for you going forward with the CAI credentials. It's gonna say, oh, Matt
When
took
you
out
use that
the
tool-
power line.
It'll show that that has been removed.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's the thing. So
Yeah.
it's not up to the viewer to guess what was.
No, that's the beauty of this, that with those CAI credentials coming out, that people won't have to worry about, was this real or not? But I think,
Dodging the bullet.
yeah, it'll be well documented.
Oh no, I'm curious about that too.
Yeah, because that's manipulating the picture.
Technically it is, yeah, you're right.
I think we're talking about something that we've been doing for a really long time.
Mhm.
We've been manipulating photos for a very long time.
We have
So
been,
there's a difference between AI and photo manipulation. I mean, you can use AI to manipulate your photos, but I can take that power line out, that power pole out.
Right.
I take spots off
Yeah.
my sensor all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Here's my example. Is I took a group photo. These are 9th graders, and took a group photo and was starting to edit, and I zoomed in, and one of the kids had flipped me off in the background. So I was like, hey, you little brat. But this was just for them. Like it wasn't getting published anywhere, just for them to have. So I selected it, and I said, add hands. And so I changed his hands from a middle finger to just like standing there.
Well,
Did you get octopus tentacles?
I should have.
I will tell you that I set up the football team photo one year, and some loser on the team thought that he was going to be funny and do that because there were so many people, and he did that. And I caught it when I got back to the office and went straight to the coach, went back to Pat Sullivan and said, this dude screwed up the team photo, we need to reshoot. And that dude ran a lot of laps for screwing up the team shot. Yeah, we didn't fix it in AI. I made sure he ran his laps, and everybody had to come back out in the 100-degree heat and redo the team photo. So it's like, you think you're funny, but you're not. So.
I said that to the teacher, and she was like, I'm going to tell the principal that. So I don't know if any repercussions happened, but the principal.
Yeah.
But is that acceptable? Is that, you know what I mean? Like, where's the line of AI?
Well, this is AI, so for me, I would have just cloned it out or something else. I wouldn't have done AI, but AI, it wouldn't. I wouldn't have thought to do it that way because I've been in Photoshop since 1996. So I would, but now I'll think about that.
I think a big part of the conversation is intended usage.
Yes,
Like, if-
100%.
If you're trying to document something and we all know what we're trying to document. There's a difference between documenting and creating art for advertising.
Yeah.
You know, documenting, leave it alone. You missed the shot because the guy flipped you off.
Yeah.
And then you use the one before it or the one after.
Or maybe you use that one.
Make sure his parents see it first. Yeah.
But like, you know, if that output, one of those outputs goes to documentary, then okay. Then if advertising comes over and goes, we love that, but can you cut the hand out? And you're like, I guess sure, because I work in a hybrid work environment. Part of it is documentary, part of it is marketing.
Yeah.
And you have to understand what your intended usage is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, that's a really good point.
And we need to be clear in our library what's been done.
Yeah.
Because my fear is it's something that was photographed, you know, with a more marketing intention, and then my public relations people send it out to a newspaper. And it's been altered, and the newspaper doesn't know. And frankly, I'm an old PJ. I don't want to do that.
Well, no, this is a good point because my brand's library that has 60,000 assets is about to go fully public. So we're just going to let it go to whoever wants it.
But if you get something, we're a marketing agency. If you get something from a PR agent, you got to expect that there's that chance.
Well, yeah, the chance. That's the word. Yeah.
And
It comes down to use.
advertorials, the whole root word of it is ad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's handout art. You didn't create that. It's not on you. You may be visually communicating it because you needed like a photo of somebody that's an alumni, and maybe the PR firm AI'd it up a bit and stuff like that, but you still need to visually communicate it because somebody above you is like, hey, get that photo.
Yeah.
And you get it. You didn't create it, so all handout art, like personally, I don't care. You know, it's handout art. I didn't make it. My name is not attached to it. The university's name is not attached to it. Whether they want to, and I just had this question put to me, do we need to credit all photography? And I'm like, it's intended, or it depends on the situation. If it's an editorial or a documentary or something photojournalistic, yeah, credit the university, throw my name in there if you want. If it's advertising or a marketing brochure, you don't need to put my name in there. And they feel that's industry standard. If you do something for Coke and they pay you a ton of money, I 100% guarantee your name is not on the photo, unless you're Ann or Bruce or somebody that they can market the name and say, this person shot it, you like it even more, right?
Did you have
I
a?
have a comment. So
Yeah.
I've seen a lot on Instagram where someone who's like the Photoshop composite, no AI use, it gets tagged as made with AI kind of thing. And so
Yeah.
Hashtag not made with AI.
hashtag not made with AI.
Because it's for some reason my stuff's getting flagged like that too, and I have no idea why.
So like sometimes it'll be like, let's say it's a photo composite of a still life, and they took 5 exposures and put all the highlights together, but it wasn't AI. Now the creator's like, no, this is not AI. This is a fake. This is real. Like I took all these photos and composited them together. It's just Photoshop. Like I could physically get that in one photo if I had 10 lights, but it was one person with one light moving the light around and then combining all those highlights together. So where like, is there a distinction between AI and post retouching?
I think there is, but as far as the content management system goes, I don't know how that works. It's just so fresh. I haven't had a lot of research in it yet. I'm interested to see how it works too, because that's a very good point. If all five of those files that you're working with have all been tagged, is it reading that and seeing it just as one image all mashed together, or is it reading it as a computer put all this together for you? I don't know.
So a non-AI picture that you manipulated could get tagged as AI?
I don't know. I don't know enough about it yet to know one way or the other.
Like, and there's definitely like people who do forensics and photography and stuff like that to see if things have been altered, and I wonder if there's some detection there, like, hey, these pixels are not these pixels. We can detect that. So AI.
Yeah, it's so new.
It almost reads like Instagram's trying to get there, and they're trying to get there now because they need to be doing that. But the Content Authority Initiative just isn't getting there fast enough. Because once they can have that detailed record, then they'll have a record that they can go, this is actually AI. But they don't have that right now. So
Well, and the hard part about the initiative is getting into the camera systems, is getting the firmware, working all those logistics out. I just did a Sony firmware update.
It's a massive undertaking.
Yeah.
It's also getting into the software, like Capture One. There's a bunch of us sitting here going, you need to be putting this in, and they're going, well, why? We don't use AI for anything.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, you're not seeing it.
Yeah.
They'll get there because we'll yell at them too much.
That's true. Well, let's cover the last thing I wanted to go over, and that's AI tagging. Certainly not anywhere as controversial as what we've been talking about. So we'll kind of like ease in.
Well, it's good discussion though, because
the end of it.
When I went to buy this though, those were my concerns.
Yeah.
Again, it's the AI word that's scary.
Yeah, because it's looking at things, right? So, just stats. Which our marketing folks love stats. So I brought some stats. Productivity, 90%, quality work, 84. Let's jump on ahead. But it does save time. The AI tagging saves time, right? So, so Chris at LSU told us that the AI tagging saves them 50% of their time when they're sorting through images during and after a game, because they've got those athletes being tagged automatically on upload. So there's a lot to be said for using the AI. AI is not very scary, but to using that AI for things. So this is not an ad for Photoshelter, but I'm going to run through what Photoshelter does just because I'm Photoshelter, and that's what I'm here for. But so we have the object ID tagging. That's looking at just stuff, right? What does that do for you? It gives you long-term ROI on your stuff. I always tell people when I'm chatting with them about it, like if you shot something for a weekend getaway article in the alumni magazine, you tagged it for weekend getaway, but you didn't really tag it for everything. You didn't tag that duck in there or whatever, or the pier or whatever. But ultimately, how many shots do you make for that story? 300 selects finally at the end. How many did your marketing people use? 2 if you were lucky, right? And then you have all of those other assets just sitting there not getting used. So things like Object ID actually help you long-term on the ROI, because ultimately, next year or something, there might be a story on something like, oh, we're doing like ducks on the lake or whatever. And you're like, well, I guess it's a trip to the lake for me, right? Or whatever. But, so then you don't want to use the AI then. But if you didn't have time to go to the lake, then you could easily get more usage out of those assets because you've gotten more stuff tagged. People ID, this is my family, by the way. So, we're Eagle, but nothing against anybody else. But anyway, so people ID, going in, tagging faces, and just having it tag automatically on upload, which is great because if you think about events where there are a lot of people in there and you would have to go back and tag, I can't remember, it might have been Missouri S&T. We may have been talking about this morning, but that whole like board of trustees, right? And when somebody calls and says, Mr. Brown died this morning, I need something of him, or Dr. Smith is retiring, what do we have of him? And you probably didn't tag all these people, all the time. And so they're already tagged for you, so you can go and easily pull it up. In athletics, go ahead. Good.
Either way, I can jump in with my question anytime.
Okay, all right. So in athletics, though, I always say it's good, too, because non-helmeted sports, we'll talk about helmeted sports in a minute. Non-helmeted sports, though, it gets all of those people, and you think about, I don't know if you guys have to do this, but at my school, we always did the 8x10 framed shots for the seniors, and there were always those handful of sweet kids who only got in for maybe 2 seconds in the game. And so I would spend weeks going through, like in all my spare time, trying to find, like, oh my gosh, please have something to Timmy in here because I got to get a photo of him, and just being able to type it in there, before the last game that he might potentially play in or whatever, type it in there and go, yep, got him, and I'm done, and that would take like literally a matter of seconds, as opposed to all the time I spent going through stuff looking. Yes.
So with the people ID, can you have it retroactively scan your images?
Yeah, we can run a back tag for that. Yeah.
If you have like a giant box of film that was hiding in a closet and you have to get it scanned, and then they're like, do we have any like historical pictures?
Yeah, that's a whole nother aspect. Yeah, so they found like a whole bunch of boxes of prints and slides and all that. We've actually got a third-party company that works with us. They'll do your scanning for you and upload it. The AI tags on upload. So for him, just
Is that scanning?
what's that?
Third party, does that come with membership?
They're actually, we don't make any money off of them, but they just know, yeah. We don't make any money off of them, but they understand our product, so they'll do it and then upload into your library for you. So they're just a great partner.
Yeah, I'm working with them.
Yeah, you're working with them now. That's right.
I'm working with them right now. Yeah.
Super nice people. But also the AI will run against the upload, so you're getting all those historical things tagged too if you've got your headshots trained.
Faculty's been there for like 30 years and you have a modern headshot, it'll still grab them.
Yeah.
As long as you put them in the system, yes.
Yeah.
We backlogged ours, in your exact question, and it's all there.
Another case use?
Yeah.
You have somebody that has bad information comes out that you don't want anything about.
Yeah.
Other headshot, back scan, remove.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then
Precedents
get 'em
who
out.
retire
That's great.
immediately.
Yeah.
From experience.
Yeah.
Like their ID when they're freshmen? Can you upload, how does that work?
We've got some folks that are doing it for all their students. Yeah, we use the term garbage in, garbage out, right?
That's a database I didn't think about.
Yeah, so as long as it's a good, I know at Samford, but this was years ago, our headshots were crap, but because it was just the little ID badge. But if it's a good quality enough, it's a good enough quality. I'm also hearing conversations for people who want to do that. They're figuring out the opt-in, opt-out with the students if they're okay with it. Yeah. We always had that little clause in our thing that was so big that was supposed to cover us that, yeah, exactly. So that's a whole nother conversation we certainly don't have time for today. But yeah, if it's a good enough quality, you could do that. And then but especially like your student ambassadors, those key students that you're doing the quality headshots.
A lot of your space. I don't know how that works for your dam, but like if you upload that, is that gonna?
Those little headshots are tiny. Like they're just that you need to program this with. I have I think 100 people in mine. I mean it's nothing. There's no.
Just thinking of like, you're taking an admissions photo and you're on the green, let's say. So you just happen to get one person that's prominent, like, but you have no idea who they are because they were just walking across on a beautiful day or whatever.
Yeah, if
That might
it can
help you
see
find
them and
out.
you've already trained the AI for their face, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So I have a question. So the tagging lives on the hosted Photoshelter site. Does the tagging stay intact when you download?
Yeah, you have the option. We're all about options with the platform. You can preset, I mean, you can always toggle it off, but I always tell people right when you're getting started, go ahead and preset, like, yes, I want this to embed as IPTC on download.
Could you use it as a tool for your, like, so Photoshelter, you have limited space. Your whole entire archive's not gonna live on there. Could you use it as a tool for pre-processing before it goes up into Photoshelter? And so now all your archive is now tagged?
What are you saying, like run it through Photoshelter so it's all tagged and then pull it back out?
Yeah, pull back out.
Trying to skip photo mechanic?
Yeah, what if I, like, as a process in the photo mechanic? Because photo mechanic doesn't have AI. It would be nice if it did,
Gosh,
but.
that wonderful other sponsor that's downstairs. No, so I kind of live in this world. I have some, no, y'all don't do this. Calm down.
Now your entire library is AI tagged.
Yeah.
Every photo of the president has a tag on it and kind of thing.
I kind of live here, so
Yeah.
I'm very thorough with my metadata. But also, when my vice chancellor is my example in this, when his face goes in, People ID sees it, and I have set a whole other set of tags just for him under that People ID that tags those when I go in. So and for some odd reason, like I shoot a group picture of this front row, and he's somewhere standing in the back, I'm not going to tag him, but this will see it and grab it and tag it for me. And a lot of times that's happened where I haven't even seen him in a picture, and this has caught it because he's in the back room somewhere.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I was talking to a client, doing a demo one day for them, and we were looking at somebody's public portal, and we ran a search, and they were like, well, I don't see that person in there. And I was like, I don't either, that's interesting. And so I blew it up a little bit, and it was a picture of that person on the bookcase in the back. And I was like, stop, look at that.
Yeah.
So, and it had picked him up. So, well, yeah, it is a little bit, but it's crazy though that it gets it. Yeah.
Can you have it run in specific folders?
Yeah, you
specific galleries as opposed to the entire.
Yeah, if you didn't want it to run on everything, you could. I mean, it's unlimited, so you might as well run it on everything. But if you could always toggle it off and say, I don't want it to run on the uploads that I'm doing right now, and it wouldn't. What's up?
My next question.
Can you have it hit with multiple tags? Because like, I've got Professor Hedlund, who's in the College of Sciences in the Department of Life Sciences. Will it nail him with all three tags?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you could put all that in the metadata.
I have
stuff,
executive committee that pulls all single one of them.
You've
every
been,
time.
I'm gonna grab her real
Yeah.
quick just because she raised her hand earlier.
When
Yeah.
we do specific like brand appropriate titles.
We're not fortunate enough to have Photoshelter as your DM system. Is there anybody in Zoom that knows of something similar, a third party?
Like
tagging
the-
system?
Well, Photoshelter.
People tagging, yeah.
There's
There's
I missed that.
For those of us who are not fortunate enough to have Photoshelter as their DM system, like, is there a third party system that can be?
Photo mechanic and hand input.
Yeah, you can hand do it with Photo
That's
Mechanic.
what they just showed, yeah.
Okay.
Go talk to them.
Okay.
But also from someone who didn't have a budget when I first started working with brands 8 years ago, call and have a conversation because they'll work with you.
Yeah.
And that's 100% facts.
DM system, it's just, it was implemented before I started.
Oh, gotcha.
Come on,
Okay.
make the change. Just
Yeah.
get it in there.
Yeah, I was gonna say you might want to change then.
Yeah,
but
throw that influence,
This
just
is not a
make the
sales
change.
conversation today. So.
I'll have that. I don't work for them. I'll have that conversation.
Yeah, athletes
I
wearing
will all
helmets.
day.
Let's go to the next one. Player ID. Player ID is trained off the jersey, the number, the face too. But it's I always say the only reason you'd run player ID on anybody because it's per roster, right? So like this fall's roster isn't going to be the same as next fall's roster. So you go in and pick that roster and say scan against this.
So we got defensive player number 12 and offensive player number 12.
Right now, it doesn't recognize that, but I think we'll get to a point where, like something like if they always wear a pink armband or something like that. But right now, it's not grabbing that.
Could have recognized that dude on the left.
Chris.
Wait, who's with Photoshelter?
Probably.
It's
I don't.
Numbers not complete.
Oh, Michael
I don't.
spoke on AI last
I don't
year.
use
Yeah.
this product. I couldn't tell you.
I
This is the one AI I don't use. I use all the other ones, but player I don't shoot players. So
He was saying like AI will be able to even tell just by the way that they stand
Yeah.
who it is.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's something that's maybe in the works that will be more discernible.
There's a lot of stuff going on with us with AI. So yeah.
Did they lose that dude on the left?
It got both of those guys. So yeah, this is Jordan Wolf and Noah Richard. My phone is ringing, y'all. I'm so sorry.
Their faces were partly covered up, and it still was able to identify.
Yeah, still was able to identify him. So yeah, and it gets the team too. So yeah. What you got, Wendy?
So for you all that do athletics, and possibly the player ID, do you all offer these images to players so they go search in the AI search field? Like, do you give them access to these?
We're socially playing with that.
Socially, what helps with that? Yeah.
I'm struggling with what to do with all these athletes that, where can I find this?
So yeah, so for that social distribution for athletes, you could, because they're all tagged here in the platform. There's a million ways to do this, right? But most schools, and I think a lot of y'all are either on Influencer or Open Doors or Socially. So Socially is a social distribution platform. Again, this is not a sales thing. We got 5 minutes, so I'm gonna run through this real quick, but we can talk later. But that would allow you, as it comes through your Photoshelter account and you're tagging these people, Socially you'll just suck it on through and distribute it to each one of your players. You can track everywhere that image gets used for up to 6 months, and you get the metrics on which one of your players are trending the most and all that kind of stuff, and it's just automated. So
do you send your players, or are they trying to ask you, how do I get these?
So I do all just the marketing photos of them that'll be used in posters and stuff. So it's never anything that is, like the standard DMV type headshot of them.
Yeah.
It's just all the creative stuff, but they want it.
Yeah.
Just tell them to go to your repository and type in their name.
Yeah, they could just do that as long as people can only find what they have permission to see. So as long as you've made it to where they could search for themselves, then they could go in and search and find. So yeah. Socially distributes it to them for just a post, and they just send it to social.
So
and then
when we're done with all those images that we've created all our marketing with, I would put them in there and just say.
you just set a rule, like anytime you see Zachariah Smith or whatever, it's feeding straight to Zachariah's social, and you can even pre-type a caption to say, hey Zachariah, this is what I need you to say on this, that this is, we're excited about fall season or whatever, that's why I don't write these things, but.
Chris Parent uses it like crazy.
Yeah, he can talk to you about it, he'd love to. All right, so.
Yeah, you got 5. How many slides you got left?
Yeah, just one. So AI visual search,
yeah.
This is the last one we're going to chat about. It's so fun. This is my favorite feature,
That's my
I think,
favorite.
ever. AI visual search. So for those of you who are on Photoshelter, only because I know there's some confusion with some people, AI visual search is not searching the AI tags. And I always want, that's become one of my things to make sure people understand. AI, when you flip on the little eyeball for AI visual search, it is not searching AI tags. AI tags are the same as IPTC keywords in the search bar. AI visual search is searching concepts. So how many of y'all have ever gotten the request from somebody, some random thing where somebody calls and says, hey, I'm working on something, I need happy students, it's been my one I've been using lately, eating tacos in the calf, right? Yeah, everybody gets that, right? So with this, they just come in and type in on the portal, happy students eating tacos in the calf, and then they'll get that. And they could even say, in a green shirt or whatever, and it's gonna give them everything it can find that matches that, and it starts with the most confident results and then kind of dwindles down. But even here, it's so cool, yeah. And even here, if you type in things that are green, it reads the text too. So it green chilies and cheese cornbread is not green, but it saw green because the system is going, okay, you're clearly working on something related to green. So let me give you everything that I see in the account that I think would help you with this project.
I laugh because I live in an ag world, and I always give her a lot of hell about this. But yesterday we tested it, and we typed in poop, and it pulled up cow pies.
Yeah, on his.
I
did not have.
It is not tagged as poop. It is tagged as cow pie, but it found it that way. My other example is, my audience is very, very external, which is I think a lot unlike what y'all's are. So mine are I need a black cow under blue sky in green grass with a barbed wire fence. It will find every single image that I have of that. that.
Yeah, so it's great for any kind of projects. For your designers, for your, I always say for your external people. Purdue Marketing has a user guide that I help them with, that when you go to purduemarketing.photoshelter.com, it has the user guide, but she's outlined in there just to help people understand this is why you would use this, so that way people just self-serve, just
I'm
go
gonna
get
go
it,
find
and
that.
don't ask me, because I'm out shooting
And that's
photos today,
available
so.
to anybody, like to look at the people outside of Photoshelter Life?
Yeah, if you just go
My
to the
site
portal.
is totally open.
Yeah, his is, because he's a
Totally
state.
open.
You don't have to, though. He's a state thing, so he has to give his stuff away. You can keep it locked down. Again, people can only
I
find.
just want to look at the Purdue one, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, Purdue, yeah. PurdueMarketing.photoshelter.com. Yeah. If you go there, and I can show it to you afterwards, too. But yeah, she's got it out there.
I
Yeah.
have a quick question about
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. No, go. And then I'll hit Tim.
Okay, well, I'll go then. Real quick, I'm gonna back up just a little bit, but as far as people search, what if you have a person that you just don't want to show in all of your photos?
Don't index
So
them.
They're in groups,
Yeah.
and whatnot, and
Don't index them.
they do not want to have their picture
Yeah.
publicized.
Yeah, so People ID works on who you said you want the system to tag for you. It is not like I see that this picture has a keyword on it that says this is John. Now I'm just going to go crazy, and every time I see John, you index the headshots that you want the system of the people you want the system to tag for you. So if there's somebody that you're like, I don't want the system to ever tag that person, don't index their headshot, and then it won't do it. So, yeah.
Just the opposite of that, I think his thing is you tag them and then.
You
say,
tag them so you can
delete
find
out
them
as soon
and
as you
delete
see
them. Yeah,
Okay, that's what I'm
You're saying you tagged them, but then you don't want anyone.
No. He wants somebody does not want their photo out there.
Yeah.
So you tag them. That way you can find random photos and then delete those photos out.
Oh, yeah. You could totally do that. Yeah.
Exactly, because,
You use it
I
as a
gotcha.
finder.
Yeah. You could do to eliminate them.
And
Yeah,
again,
sure.
Like when your presidents change and you need to pull people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the best example I have.
Yeah.
Or former faculty members, when they retire, we've had that happen.
I was going to say, with Photoshelter, so we just onboarded.
Yeah.
If hypothetically athletics decides to jump into it too, can we, if it's all under one membership, partition out like organizations? So athletics would be able to run their own like back end and stuff, and it wouldn't get confused or muddled up.
I had this talk a
with
lot.
Our marketing side.
So like have their own library,
It's the
Well,
parent
it could all
sibling
be part of
account.
the central library.
like the
but,
single partition library. Is that what
He's
he's
asking
asking
about the
for?
like parent sibling, like the thing I want. Everybody can live under the same umbrella,
Yeah,
but branch
okay.
it out.
Single partition library, that's what
Is
we're
that-
calling it.
okay.
Yeah, we're building that right now to where you could have, this is the example I always use. Some of y'all probably heard this example before. So if you share a library with other people, it's like living in the same apartment, your roommates, right?
I live here.
They can eat your food, they can wear your clothes, they can leave a mess in the den, and you have to clean it up, right? Because they're trashing up the place. Or you can be good neighbors. And in a good neighbor, like that's more of an enterprise account where there are different libraries around campus. We have tons of people doing this. There are different libraries around campus, but they are integrated so they can share. Like y'all's accounts are integrated with the system office, right? So, but what's that?
Is ours an enterprise?
Oh yeah, y'all's is enterprise. Yeah, yeah.
In that deal, so I
Yeah. But we're also building out a single partition library feature where everyone can be roommates in one library, but with really good locks on doors. So the main person who signed the lease is the one that can say, this is your room and bathroom, and here's your key, and here is your room and bathroom, and here's your key. And I can go in because I have the master key, but nobody else can get in your room.
Can you share two domain names?
You wouldn't have
Or
two
not
domain
share,
names
but
because you'd be in
have
one.
two domain names.
Oh, two different portals?
Because they
We'll have
identify
multiple
as,
portals
like,
too.
our athletics identifies as LBSU, and we identify as CSULB.
Yeah.
We can get into that at beer.
Yeah,
The
we'll
word-
have
the word is-
multiple portals too.
the
So
word
yeah,
is
all
portal,
that's
yeah, I
in
was
all
gonna
that's
say.
in production right now. So yeah,
Date
date.
on that.
I'm married. I can't. Sorry, but what?
When is this happening?
Oh, when is it? They're working on it now, so I don't know. I can't.
Tomorrow? Next week.
It's.
I like next week. I'm good next week.
I will. Y'all, no. Y'all are always welcome to reach out and ask me for an update. I have to get my updates too because I don't work on that team. So I always have to say, hey, what's going on with this today, and get that update.
That
So
sounds beautiful.
yeah, it'll be
Because
cool
the
when it comes out.
system that could work on a state level, like, I always wonder, like, we're all spending at each
4 state
university
agencies,
in
a college.
region,
That's
and
who I
we're
serve.
in the same college, all this money. I feel like we could get a great deal if all of us were on the same exact
Well, so we have enterprise agreements now where it's like if there's one, like if at the system level, they say, we're going to pay one bill and push out to all the other people, we can do that too. So, yeah.
I have so much trauma with this.
Huh?
I have so much trauma in this conversation with enterprise.
Yeah, what you got? And we're over, I think, but yeah.
Okay, so one last question, and I know we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
I think we're getting close to doing people ID
Yeah.
from our office.
Yeah.
They're still on it. But with the athletics side, and what's the, it used to be roster IQ, what is it called?
It's
now?
player ID now because we've transitioned to a different way of doing it, and yeah.
So that was my question. First of all, plug for this. We tried it out during the pandemic when it was pretty new at the basketball tournament, and it was amazing, even with masks on the faces. Like it was
Yeah,
unreal.
yeah.
Is there a new pricing model for this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's chat.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, well, good. We're over, but this has been great, y'all. Thank you. This is a really great conversation. Yeah. All right.